Hello everyone, welcome to my Super Heavy Samurai Roid video. I made Master 1 with this deck this season. This video will include a card-by-card explanation, combo tutorials, and replays, and a brief synopsis of the deck. But first, I would like to give my deepest thanks to Punch Ollie, nicknamed Ditto, and especially the Roid Discord server, which I highly encourage everyone in this video to join. I will link the Discord in the description below. And now onto the synopsis of the deck. Super Heavy Samurai Roids is a combo deck that does Ambulance Roid, this card right here, and Express Roid loops. Express Roid. Loops in order to swarm the field with advantage while also putting Mixed Roid into grave as a potential form of extension or as a follow-up OTK tool with Barber Roid. However, even though the deck would like to establish ambu loops, it is not make or break on establishing said loops, and the roids have value outside of the loops before and after Super Heavy Samurai portions play out. Mixer Roid can also provide UFO Roid for Baron plays with Wakasushi or Motorbike, potentially assisting in anti-hand trap lines and end boards, and going second UFO Roid could potentially crash to special, Wagon, Scales, Soul Piercer, Security, etc. from deck. To start or further plays, Mixed Roid also, if interrupted, allows Super Heavy Samurai to worry about one less interaction, also usually being future extension in the turn or potential follow-up, since Super Heavy Samurai puts so many machines in grave for Mixer to easily establish even mobile placer Bobberoid for last push OTKs. Express Roid can provide recovery for big pendulum summons and allow you to hold certain cards in hand for follow-up or extension, but is primarily and more realistically useful in its level, allowing a Mixeroid to turn any odd-leveled or useless monster on field into a rank 4 play like Gigan for more extension. Dragonroid is level utility since it's Express, Ambulance, or UFO Roid, and honestly a lot of people see Discard Search and throw Interruption at said card. Ambulance Roid is a cool little guy and can definitely bench above his body weight easily. Super Heavy Samurai Roids wins by doing what, compared to other Roid builds, Super Heavy Samurai has the flexibility of being able to play with any extra deck mechanic comfortably, since you don't have to play under a fusion lock, and allows for a lot of player expression as a result. Deck also undeniably puts up the strongest potential end boards of any Roid variant. The Super Heavy Samurai can also provide the ability to play past certain interruptions pretty well, so it's less likely to fall to minimal interaction. You might be wondering why the fuck would we run Roids with Super Heavy Samurai? Well, as I said above, Ambulance and Express Roid loops help us swarm the field with advantage, while also putting Mixed Roid in the graveyard as a potential form of extension or as follow-up OTK tool with Barber Roid. Mixed Roid can also provide UFO Roid for potential Boron plays with Wakasushi and Motorbike, potentially in an anti-hand trap lines and boards, and going second UFO Roid could potentially crash to special. Mixed Roid also, if interrupted, allows Super Heavy Samurai to worry about one less interaction, while also usually being further extension in the turn or potential follow-up, since Super Heavy Samurai puts so much machines in the graveyard. And yeah, I explained the rest above. That's why we would mix Roids with Super Heavy Samurai. Allows you to play through more disruptions and such. Some more added benefits of Roids and Super Heavy Samurai in general is the ability to trigger the search effect Cleave for Genius multiple times in a turn for multiple level 5 or higher machines, and access to a somewhat reliable anti-droll line. You may be wondering, how do the Roids work? Well, I will now be starting with how each individual Roid card works in the deck. So first we're going to start off with Ambulance Roid. Ambulance Roid is a necessary combo piece for the Roid portion, whose effect allows any Roids that are added from grave to hand to be special summoned from hand simultaneously. This, in conjunction with Express Roid, whose effect adds 2 roids from grave to hand simultaneously, enables a non-once per turn swarming tool that generates bodies for extra deck plays, but also importantly enables Cleat 4 Genius to search multiple level 5 or higher machines in a single turn. Since its effect triggers whenever 2 machines are simultaneously summoned to zones, it points to non-once per turn. Next, we're going to get on to Express Roid. Express Roids, whose effect adds 2 roids from grave to hand, simultaneously enables a non-once per turn swarming tool that generates bodies for extra deck plays, but also importantly enables Cleat 4 Genius to search multiple level 5 or higher machines in a single turn. Since its effect triggers whenever 2 machines are simultaneously summoned to zones, it points to non-once per turn. Express Roid is also simultaneously used in conjunction with Ambulance Roid, as I said a little bit ago, which is a necessary combo piece for the Roid portion, whose effect allows any Roids that are added from grave to hand to be special summoned from hand simultaneously. Now we're going to get on to Dragon Roid. Dragon Roid is a discard searcher for any non-win roid access primarily through Cleat 4 Genius and combo, which is then used to add Ambulance Roid from deck to hand, while also helping to fulfill the condition needed for Express Roid to add back 2 roids from graveyard to hand. Now we're getting on to Mix Roid. Mix Roid is used to tribute itself to establish Express Roid from the deck, while also helping to fulfill Express Roid's effect of adding back roid names from grave to hand. Mix Roid also extends you later in turn by summoning out any roid fusion from the extra deck by banishing machines from the grave equal to the level of the roid fusion. Now UFO Roid. UFO Roid isn't necessary for establishing the loops, but is used for its utility as a level 6 and potential going second tool. Now we're going to get into Parasite Roid. Parasite Roid is the lowest level of roid fusion, allowing for Mixed Roid to extend early or without having to burn too heavily into your graveyard. And since it's a level 5, it can be used with Revolution Synchron to establish Borreload Savage towards the end of the combo lines. The utility of the roid names outside the Amble loop is primarily established through Mixed Roid, and it's important to understand that Mixed Roid is basically the only roid that provides individual value to the Super Heavy Samurai and UFO Roid, sorta. And now we're going to get on to what each of the roid cards provide to the Super Heavy Samurais in general. Mixed Roid in the context of what it provides to Super Heavy Samurai individually would be its potential use as a graveyard extension / follow-up tool, since Super Heavy Samurai puts up so many machines in grave for Mixed Roid to easily establish any roid fusion, which is not only potential level utility for combo lines, but in the context of establishing the higher level roid fusions like Stealth Union, Mobile Base, or Barber Roid can also function as potential board breaking tools and last push OTKs. Also, since Mixed Roid is effectively a graveyard pseudo instant fusion, it in conjunction with Cross Sheep allows for more added grave recovery of your Super Heavy Samurai portions, pushing potential extension for the deck even further. However, the utility Mixed Roid provides to Super Heavy Samurai only strengthens the more potential roid names are run in the deck alongside. A Mixed Roid, in the instance of being interrupted, could potentially eat 2 separate interruptions in a turn. Mixed Roid has a separate on-field and grave effect. This can both generate tons of value, allowing for the Super Heavy Samurai portion to play it out a little more comfortably, or allow it to pivot and extend into various end boards. Now we're gonna get on to UFO Roid. Mixed Roid tagging out UFO Roid when paired with Wakasushi provides Super Heavy Samurai more opportunities to summon out Baron early, assisting in potential anti-hand trap lines, with one important being anti-draw and Lockbird, which is very detrimental hand trap to Super Heavy Samurai individually. Also, going second through UFO Roid lets Mixed Roid more effectively force interruption out of the opponent, since the summon of a roid is unlikely to be negated itself, but UFO Roid were more likely than be able to crash its crash into an opponent's monster because of its weak stat line. It allows you to bridge you into any machine with 1500 attack or less from deck, which can bridge you into Super Heavy Samurai starters or extension, which is more likely to eat interruption. Now we're going to get on to Express Roid. Express Roid, along with Mixed Roid in the deck, allows for the ability to turn any extra odd leveled or useless machine body on your field into a potential rank floor like Dweller or Baguska, and such, but also means to access Gear Gaigan to search for starters or extensions like Wakusushi or whatever you may need. Now this is just a bonus, so if you guys are interested you can skip past this portion of the deck. I'm going to explain how Roids worked historically. Ever since the release of Ambulance Roid, and Express Roid, players have been very interested in finding good ways to combo those two cards together. Despite this, it has never been good. Before the Roid support was released in 2017, comboing the cards was too difficult and inconsistent, mainly because Mixed Roid didn't exist. Periodically after the support in 2017, comboing Express and Ambu weren't good either, because getting bodies on board isn't useful in a deck that is fusion locked with Megaroid City and surrounding fusion cards. To force the combo, front players would choose not to run City, despite it being the best reward card, just to be able to create any meaningful payoff with successful Ambu press combo, using XYZs and links, machine duplication, mixer, and some kind of machines. Machine extenders were always the bread and butter of these kinds of builds. After duping Mixer, you could tag one out into Ambu and use the others for Gear Gaigan X. That Gaigan would add Express with Plat Gadget could special summon after you use Gaigan and the extender for it. This convoluted setup was considered the easiest way to fill up the guy with roids to enable Express. The setup is able to create recurring value by using multiple Gaigans to recycle Express from the graveyard. It was commonly used for generic XYZ rewards, for example F-Zero or even Megaclops. Gadget techs such as Bertafu for Gold Driver to pop Plat for value and free up the extra monster zone could be used in these kinds of builds, since it relied on Plat Gadget and created a pendulum payoff. The later release of Dragonroid acted as more consistent for these kinds of builds. Now, how does Super Heavy Samurai work? I think it's pretty self-explanatory how they work if you've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, or in the current Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel meta. So I'm not going to explain the Super Heavy Samurai cards. Now I'm going to get on to how the Super Heavy Samurais and Roids work together. So Mixed Roid can provide UF4 Roid for Baron plays with Wakusushi or Motorbike, potentially assisting in anti-hand trap lines and boards. And going second, UFO Roid can potentially crash specials, wagon scales, slow piercer, security, etc. from deck to start or further plays. Mixeroid, also if interrupted, allows Super Heavy Samurai to worry about one less interaction, while also usually being further extension in the turn or potential follow-ups, and Super Heavy Samurai put so much machines engraved for Mixer to easily establish even Mobile Bracer or Bobbleroid for last push OTKs. Super Heavy Samurai Roach has the flexibility of being able to play with any extra deck mechanic comfortably, since you don't have to play under a fusion lock, and allows for a lot of player expression as a result. A deck also undeniably puts up the strongest potential inboards of any Roid variant. The Super Heavy Samurai can also provide the ability to play past certain interruption pretty well, so it's less likely to fall to minimal interaction. Mixed Roid in context of what it provides to Super Heavy Samurai, would it be a potential use as a graveyard extension / follow-up tool. Also, since Mixeroid is effectively a graveyard pseudo instant fusion, it in conjunction with Cross Sheep allows for more adding grave recovery of your Super Heavy Samurai portions, pushing potential extension for the deck even further. However, the utility of Mixed Roid provides Super Heavy Samurai only strengthens the more potential roid names are run in the deck alongside him. Mixed Roid taking out UF4 Roid when paired with Wakasushi provides Super Samurai to summon out Baron early, assisting potential hand trap lines, especially Troll and Lockbird, which is a very detrimental hand trap to Super Samurai individually. Mixroid more effectively force interruption out of the opponent since the summon of a roid is unlikely to be negated itself, but UFO roid will more than likely be able to crash into an opponent's monster because of its weak stat line and allows you to bridge you into any machine with 1500 attack or less from deck, which can bridge you into Super Heavy Samurai starters or extension, which is more likely to eat interruption. Mixroid alongside Express Roid in deck allows for the ability to turn any extra odd leveled or useless machine body on your field into a potential rank 4 play, like Dweller or Baguska and such, but also means access to Gear Gaigan to search for starters or extension like Wakasushi or whatever you may need. Mixed Roid in the instance of being interrupted could potentially eat 2 separate interruptions in a turn. Since Mixroid has a separate on-field and grave effect, it can both generate tons of value, allowing for the Super Heavy Samurai portion to play out level more comfortably, and allow it to pivot and extend into various end boards. Now we're getting onto the card by card, why ratios are what they are, and explanations of my decisions. All the hand traps in the deck, they're just pretty self-explanatory. Some of the best hand traps in the current Master Duel meta. So, first starting off with one Dragon Roid and one Ambulance Roid. Only one Ambulance Roid is needed for this deck, but I chose to ran 2. Ambulance Roid and Dragon Roid I ran at 1 because they are simply one of the combo pieces that aren't established through Mixed Roids summon deck from deck effect and not useful in multiples. Unlike you see in the deck list, you could also cut an Ambulance since only one is necessary for their combo, and it could be reliably accessed from grave, though security and gear guiding if need be. I just chose to ran 2. Super Heavy Samurai card ratios. These are pretty just the standard Super Heavy Samurai card ratios. They are pretty self-explanatory. 1 UFO Roid. In UFO Roid's case, it's ran at 1 because it's just a potential utility card you don't want to break your deck playing more copies of, and has less of an important application than Express Roid, which when summoned through Mixer Roid. The Roid Fusion. For Roid Fusion, 1 pair Psych Roid at least is recommended for its ease of access, with the option to potentially run more alternative Fjord fusions like Barber Roid as OTK tools. Mixer Roid. Mixer Roid for the above, as mentioned, is ran at 3 because it's your best Roid card and its utility is core to establishing the deck as a whole. Express Roid. Express Roid is primarily ran at 2 because it is usually established to Mixed Roid, and Mixed Roid can only summon roids from deck, and hard drawing Express Roid makes combo lines incorporating it a lot more awkward and less impactful. It can be run at 1 though, if you're not afraid to hard draw it. And now the Symphonic Engine. This is optional, but I personally really like the Symphonic Engine and tend to prefer running at the cost of some of my hand trap count because of the extension it provides to the deck. But it's a matter of player preference, and if you value being able to potentially play through more interruption, or value having more flight spots for hand traps as board breakers and such. And in Master Duel context, since Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow's League can kind of provide you with the extra extension through interruption similar to how the Symphonic Engine would, but not as well. But that could be enough for some. So you would run 2 to 3 guitar and 1 mics. I tend to run 2 guitars since I can search it out when need be with Gaigan, and it's not a card you want to see in multiples in starting hands since its level is very awkward and is only really useful as a high skill. Now Ancient Gearbox. You can get it from Ballista. It searches security to help you extend further. Now Rev Synchron, just a searchable Earth machine. Helps make Savage using Psycho, and also makes Nat Beast. Now, you could potentially run the Kaiju, Jizukuri, Since this remaster, I would consider possibly maining one just increase since it's a best of one format and Claim for Genius can search it. Click for Genius right here. And now on to finally the Roid extra deck stuff. I think it's all pretty self-explanatory why everything is here. And if it's not, the replays and combo tutorials will help you understand. Now we're going to get on to the combo tutorials and the replays. This replay right here is the one card Wakasushi / Motorbike line. This line ends on Apollo for 3, Borload Savage with 2 counters, Regulus, Nachiria Beast, IP Masquerena, and a Stealthy. Now this is the one card Wagon / Soul Piercer line. This line ends on an Apollo for 3, Boral Savage with 2 counters, Regulus, Nachiria Beast, and an IP Masquerena. Now this is the 3 card anti-draw / Nibiru line. This line ends on Apollo for 3, Burl Savage with 2 counters, Barone, Regulus, Nachiria Beast, and 2 follow-ups for Super Heavy Samurais. FYI, the 3rd card in the anti-troll / Nibiru line can open on either Soul Piercer, Stealthy, or Soul Gaia or Motorbike. Here's an example line using the symphonic engine if you choose to run it. This is a 2.5 card symphonic engine. Nawakasushi ends on Apollo for 4. Burl Savage with 2 counters, Regulus, Nichiria Beast, and a follow-up Mixeroid fusion effect. If you choose to use Mixeroid's grave effect to extend for a turn, you can also include Stealthy on the end board with an extra follow-up super heavy in hand. Just be aware not to summon the Roid fusion with Mixeroid and pass, since it will blow up on the end phase. I only did it in this line to show that it's there. Here's a combo using Rev Synchron. Here uses pair Psycho to make Savage, and then it makes Nichiria Beast because it becomes level 1. And now we're on the final section of the video. These are some replays of me playing past some interruption. It shows you the true power of the deck and what it can do. Before I end the video, I hope this video helped you guys understand what the deck can do and like why. Once again, I would like to thank Ditto, Ollie, and Unnicknamed, and especially everyone in the Roid server, because they helped me. They gave me this information. Without them, my climb would have been successful. So, and I highly encourage you to join the Roid Discord server, which I will link below. So yeah, bye guys. I will end the video once the replays are done.